Good evening and welcome to ThaiPBS English News Service. I'm Supachon Klinsuwan. Police in the south are still going through criminal records in an effort to identify and arrest the gunmen who are caught on CCTV killing 4 soldiers in Pattani province 3 days ago. Meanwhile, as the government sets up a holistic one-stop service center in Bangkok to try to curb the southern unrest, a bomb has just exploded at one of Pattani's biggest hotels in the downtown area. There are currently no reports of death nor severe injuries. And this is the second time that the CS Pattani Hotel has suffered a bombing. The last time was in March 2008 when 1 person died and dozens were injured. The latest attack at around 7:15 p.m. this evening was at the rear of the hotel, and it did not apparently cause any death nor severe injuries. Officials are working to see if there are more explosive devices in the area, and hotel guests and staff have been evacuated to safety. Meanwhile, the government's new peacemaking initiative is well underway. It is a new central unit which will act as a hub for pooling resources, information and manpower from 17 ministries in an effort to curb the southern violence, which over the past 8 years has cost around 5,000 lives. This unit will become a proactive tool in gathering in-depth information and will work closely with the Internal Security Operations Command, but the office will be based in Bangkok. The opposition claims they will hold a censure debate on how the government is failing to curb the southern unrest. The Democrats are now slamming the PM for not being brave enough to visit the Deep South during the latest round of unrest. However, Deputy Prime Minister Chalerm Yubamrung says officers in the field are better off doing their duty rather than using the limited manpower to secure visiting VIPs. DPM Chalerm and General Yuttasak Sasiprapha, who is the DPM in charge of national security, along with the military and police's top brass, will charge the new intelligence unit with curbing the southern unrest. The PM has ordered a review of all peacemaking strategies implemented in the south. Meanwhile, police in the south are combing through criminal records in an effort to identify the arrested gunmen who killed 4 soldiers in Pattani 3 days ago and whose faces were caught clearly on closed-circuit camera. The government coalition parties have agreed to suspend, for now anyway, the Constitution Amendment process. Meanwhile, contrary to predictions by political analysts, Prime Minister Eng.News says that she will not reshuffle her cabinet in an effort to avoid the opposition's censure debate. Prime Minister Eng.News says she is ready to challenge the opposition Democrats in a censure debate expected to take place early next month. One strategy to avoid opposition attacks on controversial ministers, which some governments employed in the past, is to simply change ministers. The PM says she will not do so. Meanwhile, opposition whip Jurin Laksanawisit has not yet revealed details of the issues on which the opposition intends to censure the government. However, Jurin did say that the controversial Constitution Amendment and the reconciliation bills would be targets and will surely be on the opposition's list of issues to be debated. The ruling coalition parties have also reached a consensus that they will not push the Constitution Amendment process forward yet. A special committee will be set up to study the consequences of the amendment. Yet government MPs will have the rights to promote the amendment to their constituents, should they wish to do so. The controversial reconciliation bills, which the government promotes as amnesty for all, will also be shelved for now. However, reliable sources in the government revealed that today's meeting also concluded that the Constitution will be amended article by article rather than revamping the whole charter as earlier suggested by red shirt leaders. A falling rice export crisis have been developing over the past few months, but now experts are beginning to devise plans to deal with the unsold rice stocks. Dr. Rungtip Chonapalai talked to Associate Professor Sompon Isawiwalanon of the Knowledge Network Institute of Thailand, who suggested that the government should work with exporters as a team. The Pheu Thai Party's government-to-government plan has been described by some rice experts as impractical, unwise, and doomed to failure. Rice expert Associate Professor Sompon suggested that the G2G plan should be improved by involving exporters who can use their expertise to help.
If the government had to release rice from the stock, they have to reduce the price to compete with Vietnam and India.
But then that is not only the only way out, but you also mentioned about how to manage the the farmers and also manage the policy in the domestic concern?
I think Thai rice, if we pricing Thai rice about 30% above of Vietnam and India, we could export Thai rice. But up to date, I think the government have no policy in this case, no idea to manage the right to export. That's only to say about the G2G to export. But G2G is only one way to reduce the stock of rice. The better way is the government should introduce exporter to join with the government.
Work together
as a Thailand team to push the rice.
Associate Professor Somporn also said that the country needs to put more funding into rice research and development, which can advise farmers, exporters, and government officials on the planning, farming, and sale of rice. This would be especially useful once the AEC becomes a reality in 2015, when Thailand will have to trade rice in an increasingly competitive regional and world market. Already, the Pheu Thai government has spent almost 300 billion baht on buying rice, while it has spent only 230 million baht on research and development. The governor of the Bank of Thailand, or BOT, forecasts that the country's economic growth will this year be at a satisfactory rate. Still, long-term measures are needed to cope with the ongoing economic crisis in the Eurozone. Meanwhile, the Thailand Future Study Institute indicated that people's standards of living do not seem to be improving, despite an increase in GDP. The Bank of Thailand, or BOT, has revealed that the country's economy during the month of June was clearly impacted by the European Union's debt crisis, driving down Thai exports compared to the previous months by 4% year-on-year. Despite the downturn, Prasan Thairat, governor of the BOT, said that the Thai economy will still expand by 5.7% this year, which is a satisfactory rate. However, he advised the government to avoid short-term policies which only distribute income temporarily, but instead to implement long-term measures to combat the effects of the European economic turmoil. Prasan's comments coincide with those of the Thailand Future Study Institute, which announced that Thailand's GDP has expanded more than 50 times over the past decade, but real income has dropped twice, which goes to show that the people's standard of living has not improved, although the overall economy continues to strive. Nitinai Siri Sammathakan, director of the institute, explained that it is because the Thai governments kept pushing for unsustainable populist policies that only stimulate the economic growth without long-term investments. The Bangkok authorities announced this Tuesday that Thai police have arrested a Belgian man on several charges of murder, money laundering, and other mafia-related crimes. The 57-year-old man, Mark de Schutter, was described as Belgium's #1 most wanted man, and he was arrested on the resort island of Phuket. A Belgian embassy official who asked not to be named said that Schutter has been involved with drug and money laundering gangs in Israel, the Netherlands, Ireland, and Albania. He added that there is also the ongoing murder case of his wife, for which he is alleged to have received help from a high-ranking Belgian police official. However, Schutter said that he had been living in Phuket for more than a year, and recently he had traveled to Bangkok.
I don't know what they tell me. It's in Thai and I don't speak Thai. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on. I really don't know.
Thai authorities said the process for Schutter's extradition to Belgium is already underway, and that they had confiscated computers, mobile phones, and frozen bank accounts as part of the arrest. Meanwhile, Police Colonel Prasop Chok Promoon of the Crime Suppression Police Division said that he would forward the case to a prosecutor to process his extradition. And despite a decrease in clashes compared to this time last year, the problem of street brawls between hard-headed vocational students still frequently haunt Thai society. At today's conference, held to discuss new measures to curb the violence, the Ministry of Education urged all concerned agencies to work in an integrated way to solve this problem. The Metropolitan Police Bureau reported that 1,086 cases of rival students fighting in Bangkok and adjacent provinces. The number does not include the other 900 cases which officers managed to prevent turning violent. According to the statistics, most violent clashes between schools have occurred during August and September, the period in which schools are generally open or celebrate their founding anniversary. During the meeting, with participation of representatives from the Ministry of Education, the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration, and the Bangkok Mass Transit Authority, police also revealed that not only vocational students, but more and more secondary school students have been involved in the violence recently. Apart from the 4 inspection spots in the districts of Bang Na, Don Mueang, Meen Buri, and Bang Khae, where most student hooligans have been found, the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration plans to install 20,000 more CCTV cameras in about 130 high-risk areas, specifically bus stops around the city. Additionally, several psychological methods, namely military camps for the discipline training, documentaries on the failure of students with histories of violence, and many others, were suggested to help instill discipline, ethics, and good behavior in these students. The police emphasized that integration among all agencies concerned has proven successful in Nonthaburi province and expressed hope for the same result this time as well. And while most attention is on the Summer Olympics in London, another sports event that is also attracting interest, especially among youths held in juvenile jails across this country, is the Sports Behind Bars campaign. The event aims to boost discipline and order among the young criminals. Sports Behind Bars is the brainchild of the Department of Corrections. Under the supervision of the wardens and guards at juvenile jails across the country, the young prisoners will train and later this month gather at the Thantasathan Wai Num Klang in Pathum Thani province to compete in the national games. Medals for sports like boxing, petong, gebadi, sepak takraw, and more will be up for grabs by the young athletes. The inspector of the Department of Corrections says this is a great chance for the young inmates to show off their athletic talents and abilities, as well as being a chance to follow rules and orders, which will help them follow the laws of society once they are released from prison. This is the 9th sporting event of its kind. Among the alumni of the prison games at the press conference was Samson Sawsiripon, a former female inmate who was crowned champion as the first female fighter in the WBC Light Flyweight Championship, as well as being the first triple winner of the WIBA. The games will run from July 30th to August the 3rd. And that's all the time we have for tonight's edition of Thai PBS English News Service. I'm Subhajon Klinsuwan saying good night for now. Sawasdee krap.